Mike, before you can transmit the energy from your brain through to the golf club head, you must have a proper grip, one that has the proper tension and one that has the correct position so that it doesn't interfere with the club head swinging through the hitting area. You know, the motion that you're getting into that club is two motions. It's electrochemical. The mind is a battery, and it creates an electrical spark that goes through the nerves. And you have joints here that they have to jump across, and they are called synapses. They allow that electrical current to go through the various joints so the other joint can work. So you have to get it from here. There's another force that you're using. It's liquid. It's acetylcholine. That causes the muscle to contract just from that electrical stimulus from your brain. Causes the acetylcholine to grab and causing a grip and what we call a contraction. Muscle has two functions. They can contract, but all they can do from contract is go back to a state of rest. Muscles come in pairs. So you have one that calls the protagonistic and the antagonistic. When you use your hand to make a motion, the muscle that contracts it causes the muscle on the opposite side, the antagonistic, to lengthen. And when you come back, you release that contraction, and then the antagonistic will bring it back much more efficiently than you can bring it back, and much more quickly. So now, to transmit the energy from your brain to this golf club head, you must have a proper grip. Now we'll discuss how you grip the club properly. Would you make a little grip on that, and I'll explain it.
Okay.
You're going to place the heel of this hand and the thumb of this hand over the top of that grip. And that's sitting back down against the first phalanx of this little finger.
Okay.
Now, this bulbous end of your left hand, which is not a joint at all. You only have two joints in this hand. The first joint and here, and the one here, the one there. The other fingers have three joints, and the space in between those is called phalanx. Now the hand is going to come over, and you're going to have a closing of the hand up against the shaft, and you will have the first joint of your left hand, left thumb, closed against the second joint of your left hand, closed against the first joint of the index finger.
You never ever have it away, the webbing.
Like that. The club hits the ground, you have no control of the club head.
That's what causes some of the turning or club slippage?
Yes, it's loosing. You have to be able to hold it.
Okay. So when I'm putting my hands on it,
it's
deep in, a little bit deeper in the fingers in order to get the butt of the hand over the top. And it's real important once you get the club up, the thumb's working almost right down the shaft, isn't it?
You see, the grip point on this thumb is the second joint. This is the first joint. That's the second. The space between the first and second is called the first phalanx. This is called the second phalanx. Now, that thumb is not on the side. The web is closed. Now, you can exert a pressure with the heel downward and upward with this second phalanx here. You see, that's the first phalanx, the second, this is the third. So as you come this way, you're causing the hands what we call cock, but medically it's called radial flexion. Radial flexion. You're pronating the left arm, and you radial flex the wrist, like that. Now, if you watch that club, the club head is opening. When you come back and do like this, it's still open, but the arm turns and closes. You understand? Now, if you put that club behind a golf ball, I'm going to show the importance of not taking a two-hand grip and putting it on there at the same time. I'm going to measure the space from my shoulders to the ball with my shoulders now parallel to the line I want to hit the ball on.
Okay, but when you're putting your hand on the club, it's real important not to grip it
You don't
with
grip
your
it
shoulder
with the fork,
or your forearm.
No,
but
you
more
only
or
grip
less,
the muscles of the hands and ligaments. It's just bi-joint ligament contraction. See, these ligaments are causing the club to grip it. Now, if you go into the hand, you freeze the wrist.
you lock the forearm.
You've got to be able to do this with a club. To
Take it.
hold it. You've got to be able to do it. Radial flexion, pronation, ulnar deviation, supination, and you are creating a semicircle. And if you don't have that semicircle, you're not getting energy to the club head. If you pull it with the left arm, the club shaft is moving the same speed as the left arm.
Well, let me ask you this. What about the grip pressure?
The grip pressure is just like this.
All right.
When you take the club and grip it, here's all the pressure you need to hold that thing that way. Now, if you squeeze it, you'll freeze up. You'll feel it in the bicep and the tricep. Even feel it in the deltoid. If you feel it there, it's just in the hand.
But it's a pretty snug grip. On a
It's a
scale of
firm
1 to 10, 10 being firm, what would you say your left-hand grip pressure is?
Not over 6.
Not over 6. And would you also say, you know, we're fixing to learn how to put the right hand on, but are they equal pressures, or do you think the left hand you grip a little stronger, a little weaker?
Well, with the left hand grip, you're gripping with 4 fingers.
Okay. These 4 fingers, right?
Yes. With the right hand grip, you're only gripping with 3.
Right.
You're overlapping your index finger with this pinky. Understand? So you're only hitting it with these 3. So you've got a ratio there, 3 to 4.
Right, and the positions that we're talking about, these very specific positions on this, are pretty much uncompromising, aren't they? Because if you don't get your left hand properly on the club, then, for example, like one of the great illustrations that you showed me a little bit earlier, is like once that hand set on there, like if I ever wanted to check it, see, that blade, the blade and everything's pretty much aligned, but I could just literally take it off and open my hand, and it would be square, right?
That's right.
Whereas if I got what we call like a strong position, like so, and I put it on there and I got the club a little bit too strong and I opened my hand, it would be fighting one another.
That's right. It will not. If you came through here and let this go, the face would close too quick, and you'd either double hook it or hook it. You know?
So you wouldn't be able to have that freewheeling motion that we're going to talk about. You'd have to take it to a position,
You'd have to, yes.
as opposed to swing it to a position.
Yeah, letting it go. It's like a bullet coming out of a pistol barrel. It picks up speed. When you release this, that club head picks up speed. It's traveling faster than the arm. Then when you do that, it adds more speed to it. The turn of the forearm actually adds a second dimension of speed.
All right, so I'm going to take this, and I want to make sure, since this is one of the critical positions of the golf swing, but that would be taking this, placing it right up over the top, and the thumb, and if I set the club down behind the ball, what do you think?
That's good. Very good.
Would that work?
Yes. Now you're lining up your feet, you're lining up hips, and you're lining up the shoulder. But I'm going to change that. Not your feet. I'm going to change the knee action, your hip, and the shoulder. You can't grip the club like this. You need a bicycle handlebar. But to have a correct movement of the arm through the shot, you have to have the right hip kind of tilts down, the right knee flexes a little bit, and that will let you put the right hand below the left hand without changing the position of your shoulders. Understand?
Changing the position in relationship to open and close?
Yes, that's right. You see, you do not want to have this hip outside of, this hip and this shoulder outside of this one. See, I'm sitting here. Now, I'm not going to change that. That isn't changing it. But if I change this, look at that. See, like if everybody has an idea that you hit the ball with the elbows on the same height, you do not. When you hit the ball, your right shoulder, your right elbow are behind and more inside because you're not approaching the thing down the flight line.
Well, what we were talking about a little bit earlier is, like if you took both arms and you put them right out in front of you, they'd come together right in the middle of your square. It's a square position, right?
Yeah.
So if I bend over to the golf ball and my shoulders were square and my hips were square, and my knees were square, then I would have to grip the golf club with a square hand position in order for everything to be measured, right?
That's right.
But since my right hand is lower than my left, I have to accommodate for that measurement on the right side, right?
That's correct. You know, when you flex the right knee and move the left hip slightly to the left without swinging the shoulder out here to grab it that way, you feel like you're coming on and getting it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's like if you're going to shoot a cannon, you want your cannon, if you want it to go the farthest, to have it tilted at a 45.
More instead of like that.
Yeah.
We'd be tilting it up. Yeah. That's where we're going to get our body in position.
Because the position and address and impact position is very similar, but you're not hitting it off of 2 feet. You're moving to 1. Your arms and hands are moving ahead of the address position, and all your weight's on that left leg. So it's important to have the correct shoulder position, the correct right arm position, and the correct pressure of those 3 fingers that's holding that.
Okay, so if I've got my, let's just say I walk into the ball.
Just like that.
I take my stance and kind of adjust my feet for the width of the...
And you can tell when you've got the distance correct, if you can put this right arm underneath your elbow, and you have at least a hand expand between your abdomen and the top end of the stick. You have to have that, so when you hit the ball, that your right thigh can come in here on the bias, on an angle like that, between that thigh and this club. I'm going to put you in it, okay?
All right. Right there.
Yeah. Now, when you come at this ball, this right arm isn't up here.
Right.
It's here. Now, let me take it back to the ball. Hold the club right there.
Okay.
Now, as you move your weight over to the left side, pick up the heel, bend the knee. Now, you're in a box, okay? Put your right hand on it. Now, at this point here, watch the rotation of your left arm and how the palm of my right hand goes over the left thumb. The left thumb is below the hand, isn't it? If it's up here, you'd be up in the air. It's got to be there. Now, you're coming at this ball this way. You're coming up. Most everybody hitting the ball, they're coming down and in. It's wrong. You want to get it up.
Up. We're going to hit up on the ball.
Your right hand crosses over the left thumb after you hit the ball. Yeah.
Okay. But I want to, like, kind of retreating back just a little bit.
Yeah.
So once we, we get our left hand position on the club, and we set it behind the golf ball.
Yeah, you establish the angle of address when you bend over toward the ball by retracting the derriere. You don't do it by just bending this way. You collapse this rectus abdominis wall. You keep this line between the pubis bone and the xiphoid bone here without collapsing, you see? Now, if you collapse, you're bending at the waist.
Right.
If you bend this way, your derriere is pulling back and your head will be pulled down. Just take your derriere and pull it back away from your golf club, like that.
Okay.
Yeah, like that. Now.
All right. All right. There's my left hand.
Yeah.
Left hand position. Now, right hand.
Okay. Now, to place this right hand onto that club, the grip of the club, this is called the grip, and also when you take this action, it's called the grip too, so don't confuse the two.
Okay, good point.
All right. Now, to put this right hand on this club, there's got to be a slight movement, a concaving to the right side, lowering your right shoulder by flexing the right knee. Now, we're going to move this is the third finger of the right hand. This we're going to keep open. We're going to hold the fingers this way, and this way, not closing that joint here. I'm closing the second, then I put the third around the front side. But I want the shaft laying on this phalanx, okay? Not here. You're down in the fingers, the underneath the hand, understand? So just look at the hand this way, and now look at it that way. Now this finger's like this. Now we're going to slip the third finger of this right hand below the index finger of the left hand.
That one.
Yeah. Now let's see you put it there. All right. Now we're going to take the hollow part of this palm and put it over these two phalanxes, the spaces between this joint and that joint. This has to go over it, like that, and put this. This is going to go underneath, right there.
Mm-hmm.
Now it feels like a one-handed grip instead.
Boy, it feels solid.
It feels like a one-handed grip.
Okay, now talk about the webbing on top.
Now, when you grip this club, you have go down a very little small V. I ain't talking about this up here. I'm not talking about it here. I'm talking about that V here. Now, if you look at that V, it's right up the shaft, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What about the hook finger here? Should it touch, or should it?
The little finger just laps over the top of the. This is called the index finger of the left hand.
No, I'm talking about this hook finger here, the pointer finger.
It's got to be closed.
It's got to be closed?
Yeah, and you're gripping with this joint, the first joint, against that hook. Now this is underneath. Now you have an up grip, an up grip, and a down grip.
Okay, so the up grip would be this pressure,
yeah,
and this would be the thumb down.
Yeah, yes, sir.
And the pressure, it's not pointing down like that. It's that bone, right?
Yes, bone. The thumb has been out this way instead of down that way. So you feel like this is contacting the grip.
How much pressure do you put on, like those two, that down?
So they can never open. That pollicis muscle there is closed, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If that opens up, you need a bat to have any grip on the club.
All right, so if you set it, and again, establish the left arm position.
Yeah. Now, just hold that position.
All right.
I'm going to show you whether it's right or wrong. If you can take this club like this and do this with it without feeling a lot of impedance, you now have found the proper amount of grip.
And if you could, again, like that neat little checkpoint, I could just take my hand off and open it.
Yeah.
And it would be square.
Yes.
Now, that was a pretty detailed analysis of what the grip looks like, but the one little drill that we do to check it is you could just take your hand.
Yeah, you look here. Now you step a little bit over that way.
All right.
Now see, that toe is down to the ground, isn't it? Now the toe and heel are level to the ground, isn't it?
See, they're horizontal.
Yeah, now I would like to have you cock your left thumb, but close the web.
The web being this right here. So it never leaves that open.
All right.
All right.
Put it on.
All right.
Now this gives you not a long thumb, not a short thumb, but a medium thumb.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the next operation is to put
the right hand on.
The right hand. Now the index finger, this third finger goes against the index. Now you understand the club shaft is below the hand. You grip it in the fingers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now if you just take this club in front of you and drop it there, you have the correct
perfect grip. One of the easiest ways to put your hand on the club.
Just a means of checking it, you understand?
Check it, recheck it, check it, recheck it.
Now if you can't do this action here, and there, you're gripping it too tight. Now lock your wrist and see what you do. You can't do any of that, can you?
Mm-mm.
You don't have this semicircle. Now that is important in a golf swing. It isn't keeping that shaft pulling through there with the left arm.
Right.
That ball will slip right off the face of that club, but you got this coming. You compress the ball and keep it from sliding off the face, okay?
Mm-hmm. So this would be what a grip looks like. Proper grip.
Yeah.
Like so, right?
Right. Mike, we're going to continue the grip and posture because there's one element that I'd like to show from the side. We didn't do it from the side. It'll give you a better understanding of how far the hands have to be away from the body.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Now, I'd like to have you take your left hand grip.
Mm-hmm.
Take your left hand grip. Now, line yourself up. Position your body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, this position that you have looks relatively good, you see?
Mm-hmm.
You have to have this. So if you drop the plumb bob from the butt end of the stick, that'll be outside the tool line.
Mm-hmm.
It's imperative because when you shift over to the left hip and pick up this leg,
see, I've got to be able to get my right side underneath that, right?
Yeah, you got to go underneath your arms, between the left leg and your arms. Now your hip is driving on an angle like that.
Right.
The left hip is parallel to the flight line. Okay.
Right.
And this gluteus maximus is pushing down your flexing femoris flexor and your extensors here. Now that's impact position, and you can now hit that ball exactly where you want it to go.
Whereas opposed to, you know, like if I was set up square and I squatted my knees,
then when you come at the ball, your right shoulder will be overpowering. You're coming down on the ball. Instead of driving it up, that's driving it into the ground.
I know if you took so for example, like if like my knees are relatively extended.
Yeah.
Not, you know, hyperextended, but
locked.
Extended, and that gives me the full, you know, my full stature.
Okay.
But if I was to flex my knees a lot, then the natural,
you have no balance.
My head has to come backwards, right?
And your collapsing here is injurious to the spine. You can, in here you get epicondylitis, bursitis, you know.
And the natural hang of the arms, instead of giving me working room like we were talking about, would be
on the side of the hip.
On the side of the hips, which, you know, this would be a manufactured position as opposed to a very simple natural position, right?
That's correct.
Boom. Boom. Also, the knees, you know, like if you bend both of them, whew,
you lose
your head.
You see, one side has to hold up, and the other side have to revolve. Now, that's getting into the pivot.
Okay. Well, we'll get there in just a second, but we got to get this foundation squared away here.
All right.
But so when I'm setting up to the ball, you know, you just can't. You're putting your grip, the two-arm measurement, and the posture is absolutely essential that you get those correct.
If you don't get that correct, you're going to have problems with direction.
All right. Setting up. All right. So when I put my right hand back up on the shot, I don't do it like
Don't twist
that.
the left hand.
No.
You slightly move it a little bit ahead into a convex position.
Really, I'm taking, because my right hand's lower than my left, I'm actually compensating for that length, right?
Right.
From the hand to, this would be square. Now this would be.
See, actually from here to there, that left. So that shoulder has got to be that much lower than your left shoulder.
So it would look like, from a front view, I'm actually making that adjustment all the way from my ankle to my shoulder line. As I'm not doing that.
No.
I'm letting the whole thing just conform.
Yeah.
And that would this would enable me to look. My arms are fully extended right now. I could hit it with either hand, couldn't I?
That's right.
Look at that. Boom.
And
as opposed to
that way, it's no good. And these people standing there like they're going to make love to a fire plug. It's no good.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't want them doing that.
And we're not buying traction on the ground. We're buying kinetic motion. One.
Right.
One leg to the other leg. Right.
Boom.
Now, see, from that position, you're ready to start the backswing. Now, to start the backswing, we have to understand what the ankle, knees, and hips do before we work with any other part. Before we start the movement of the golf swing, we've got to know something about the loft, lie, and lead. If you will take this wedge here and you put a driver out here, the slant of that club is shallow compared to this club, right?
Now, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by slant?
The angle of declination from here to the club head.
So this one would be more flat, and this one would be more upright?
Yes.
Okay.
And that is controlled by ulnar deviation, radial flexion.
Okay.
See, you have a slight radial flexion. Now, if I take the club and hold it, if I went to this position, down to there, look at the thumb. Now, that takes care of the lie of the club.
Right.
We have to take care of the lead.
What's the lead?
What's the lead? In a manufactured club, if you put this club head here on a level block, this shaft would sit like this, not 90-90. There would be that much ahead of the club.
Yeah.
Now that's flat on the ground, and that's the way that sits. But the average player is playing with a 90-90. That takes a tremendous amount of distance away because you're buying altitude instead of longitude here.
So
See,
like if you played the ball, say like off your left foot with a wedge,
you're trying to buy altitude,
and you're not buying it.
You will be getting it, you know,
because the blade would open.
It is lying open this way,
and you'd add loft to it, right?
See there?
Yeah.
That's like a
it's
closed
designed
position.
to sit that way, where you look.
The face of the club is perpendicular. You're not here, you're not there. It's perpendicular to the way you want it to go. But you see, and it also causes a divot after you hit the ball. Because the arm is going to pass as that comes down here, and it's going to go in the crease between the perimeter of the ball and the ground, and it cuts into the turf right there and goes down. With a wedge is 6 inches. You get about a 6-inch divot.
All right, do this. All right, let's play.
Now with
you
the
hit
driver,
a driver. All right, you hit a driver. Put the driver off the left foot.
Yeah, I've got an angle from my left heel out to the ball, a right angle. Understand?
Okay.
Then I make my setup like that.
All right, now let me ask you something.
Now watch this. If you look at that shaft, it's about 90, isn't it? It's not a. It's
right.
Now that puts it in an open position. That puts it in a square position. Understand? You're like this.
Beautiful. Okay, so you're looking almost down the shaft at the ball, right?
With my left eye.
Okay. Now, in order where you don't have, every golf swing needs what we call a constant. Okay, the one constant in your swing, and probably one of the most important measurements in the whole thing, is once you address that ball, you kind of take this left arm and put it right on top of that pec, don't you? Or to the side of it.
What I'm doing like this, I'm doing a pec grab to set the upper part of the humerus bone into the rotor cuff. So there's a constant. When you make this constant address, regardless, for every club it's the same, but your wrist changes.
Okay, let's get into that. I think that's the...
If you take a compass and you open up the 2 points of the compass and you lock it, you have a static end and a kinetic. That kinetic turns around the static and you describe a circle. But you have to have a static. An attached end and a detached end.
All right, this is the attached end. That's the detached end.
Well, it's attached here, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the extension right there.
Now, as we come back, it's like that.
All right, so if you grip the club like your driver, all right, so you position your left arm. Your left arm is the same for every single club, isn't it?
Yeah, if I hit a wedge, look here.
If you hit a wedge, you're not going to take it and move the wedge.
No. I'm going to take the wedge and put it back in, then put my grip on it. I move it back 6 inches, leave the top here.
Let's get a little picture of that. Okay, here's the driver.
Let me have this.
All right, and here's a 5-iron. Let's put them all together. All right, it'll be right about what?
It'll be about there.
Okay.
But these are the same height. The altitude from the ground is the same. Okay?
The altitude just being from here to there.
Yeah, from the ground up to this point here.
Right.
Hold that.
All right.
Right there. Now the wedge should be here.
Okay, so you're saying with a driver, we start off the left heel instep, that each club would go back
half an inch.
It would go back a half inch.
Yeah, that's about 2 inches.
Okay, well, it would go back a half inch.
Yeah, that's the brassy.
All right, the brassy, and it would move a half inch towards you, wouldn't it?
No, it wouldn't. It just your hands here. Hands would be like that.
Well, it would move closer to you simply because the club's shorter, right?
Yeah, when you go into this 5-iron, hold those 3 points.
Okay.
Now my thumb is this way for that club.
Right.
That's that way for that club, and it's that way for that club. You see, you're almost in a ulnar deviation. This is radial flexion.
Simply because the club's shorter when you're moving it into you.
The length of the club.
Okay.
And the angle of lie. See, the angle of lie is steeper here, right?
Okay, well, all right, put your left arm on it, let's see. But the left arm's exactly the same position.
The only thing, let me show you.
All right.
Hold this club here.
All right.
Now with the driver, my hand is like that.
Simply because the driver is a taller, longer club, right?
But as I take this club right here, it looks like a stronger grip. But if I bring my hand back there, it would be regular.
Yeah.
See? And that's grip it like that, so you can take down into the shot and grab a divot. The lowest part of the swing is the perigee, and when you come up, that's the apogee. But you have to have that extended, that wrist extended, and then it has to do a roll of the hands, forearm at the elbow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
So, here, hold on. So I'm going to set this club. And take that. Now, every shot that I hit, it would just be,
you have to have this space from this end of the stick over to there to get this thigh in between that thigh and the club, underneath the arm.
Right. Okay, so I've established this much room between my stomach and the butt end of the stick. And so when let's just say that each club's going to work
into you,
but I don't take the left arm and move it back.
No, you leave the arm right where it was for the driver, but take your hand, turn your hand over.
Okay, and so a driver, I'm sitting here, and visually, I should be looking almost right down the shaft, right?
Yeah, no, you're behind that. Your left ear's on that ball.
Left ear's on that ball. Okay.
Yeah. Now, your legs, your arms are like that. They're not over it. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, when you hit the ball, that arm is higher than this arm, and it's further away from you. And you're coming up at the ball this way.
Okay, like a little bit more up.
Yeah.
Okay, so like let me have a pitching wedge. So a pitching wedge, the sand wedge, if I have to move closer because it's shorter.
Yeah. Now you turn your hand into a Honda grip. Yeah. And that allows it.
But see, I don't ever move that left arm off that deal, right?
That's a constant.
That constant, and so that will keep my arm and body all moving pretty much together, right?
Right.
Interesting. All right, so this is what it'd look like.
No, you're going to have it now. You're going to see almost 3 knuckles of the left hand.
Now, I'm really not changing my grip. It's just because it moves backwards, right?
Because I'm keeping this hand here, so the hand has to go there. Now I almost see all those knuckles, but I don't come here that way. I come that way. Okay. I'm pronating the left wrist. Now you got it. Now tilt the club a little forward. Don't pick up the club when you put it there.
All right, yeah, just
don't pick it up. Set that thing. Now that's right. Now.
All right. Good. Now
you understand. The loft is the angle that the blade is tilted from a perpendicular position, or straight up, to an open position. That each one of those become an average about 4 degrees. So that you're buying a different angle of trajectory.
And the lie...
the lie is where the sole of the club is on the ground, like that. And the lead is where the hands are ahead of the
From there to there, right?
Yeah.
Good.
Now, you have to take almost a Honda grip. Now, the club will set that way if you take a Honda grip. If you set this way, you don't have a Honda grip. That's the way you do it. Now, lean the club over towards your left hip, right there. Right there.
Okay, so that's the same way.
That's right.
But this left arm has still remained constant.
Constant.
Beautiful.